Hey, Jack.
Yo,
Right on time.
words to that effect. So I have a question for you.
Shoot.
Have you had kidney function tests lately?
I think they are considered part of a normal round. So if I've had a full blood panel, which I have in the last 2 or 3 years, then they have run it. I don't think there was anything anomalous. Otherwise, it would be in one of my medications that I'm supposed to be taking, or it would be flagged in my medical record. So I don't think so.
Well, what you care about is creatinine and eGFR.
Okay. I will look for that.
You look for
So,
the creatinine and eGFR comes with it.
so what's the difference between creatine and creatinine?
I actually don't know.
Because I think creatine is the stuff that bodybuilders, and wrestlers take
Yes.
to, bulk up
So
their
it's
muscles,
it's
right?
creatine, maybe not creatinine, but
Well, I know there is
creatine.
both. Okay. Yeah, I had my headphones on. I just need to let in the dog.
I'm going to go in and look at my medical record.
Okay.
And
What is today? Today is the 7th already.
uh, records, test results. Creatinine.
Yes, that's what I was asking about.
Yes, it's the one that they use to calculate kidney function.
Okay, all right. So I'm still, I mean, sounds like one is a derivative of the other or
So
related in some way.
that's a new one. Creatinine versus
Creatine.
creatine.
Hey, Heiner.
Hey,
Jack and I
hey,
Jack and I are discussing creatine and creatinine and GFR and kidney function
Okay,
today.
creatinine is the waste product formed when creatine breaks down.
Ah, okay.
So
So
now we know.
it only appears when you take creatine, or is it naturally produced?
Oh, it's naturally produced. I mean, just walking is going to make it, but muscle builders make a lot of it. Um,
Okay. All right. Did you want to follow up on that some more, or should we get some check-ins like Heiner's carrying wood, it looks like?
I just want to know if you've checked it recently, given high blood pressure. That's all.
Okay. How recently should be recent?
Within the last year.
Probably not within the last year, although I will check because I've got my charts online, so I can check pretty easily.
All
But
right.
I know my doctor takes care of me.
Yeah, well, I understand that, and if he's good, he will automatically go watching for it.
Yeah. My doctor is a tiny little, she's about this big, okay, a Vietnamese woman. And I've had lots of other doctors and other health plans before, and they say, "Are you taking your medicine? Are you doing this? Are you doing that?" And I'll say, "Well, I'm not so good about this, and yeah, I'm taking this, and yeah, I'm doing Tai Chi, but I'm not as regular as I want to be." Blah blah. She's the only one that gets in my face and says, "You have to do this. You have to do this. You have to do this. Otherwise, you're not going to be doing very well. And she really cares. And so she's been doing
And
that for
so
like,
I've found that the um, Asian doctors, females, are among the best.
yeah, they act like mothers, right? It's what you want.
Oh, Jesus, do they ever?
Yeah.
My
Anyway,
my nephrologist is from Sri Lanka,
yeah. One of my favorite pianists is from Sri Lanka.
and some of your famous science fiction writers are like
Well, they live there
used
now.
to
They live
live
there
there. Yeah,
now. Yeah. They're not native Sri Lankans, I don't believe.
no, they're not.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Jack, what else to check in?
Not much.
Okay. Heiner, would you like to check in? In check in. Headline check in. Okay, I'll have to count how many seconds it takes for Heiner to find his unmute button. All right, Heiner, I'll send you a message. I'll ask you to unmute. There you go. There you go. You found it.
Well, I'm on my small screen and I have my other things just running in, and I'm in the countryside. We are, well, you can see, sun is setting soon, and we have a little nice wood and lake around. And I just came in and was not prepared and couldn't switch to the screen where I can unmute. Blame on me.
No problem. It looked like you were living the nice rustic life, chopping wood, carrying water. No, you were carrying wood and
Yes, I
chopping
brought
water.
it. We are going to have some. It's very cold here. We have to do some fire and cooking tonight.
What's the event? Is this a retreat? Is this a friend? Is this a vacation? Is this a hermitage? Is this resigning
All
from the
of
world?
all of that. It is 2 hours north of Berlin, halfway to the Baltic Sea, and it's a friend who, with a couple, they have here in the woods, close to a beautiful lake, um, a wooden house, and it's very privileged and green and special and very cold, but it's also very sunny. We are here at a good time, and I'm very busy preparing this Equinox Earth Day in, well, it's March 20, so we have 2 weeks about left, and I'm presently drafting and making wood and do a lot of things as always. Over.
Thank you, Heiner. Well, I'll start with one check-in then, Jack, that might actually be of interest to you. It's been a while since I saw my older daughter, but a couple of Saturdays ago, hey, Kayla, welcome. But anyway, a couple of Saturdays ago, Jack, I saw my older daughter. I think Kayla's already heard me say this, but she has said, "You're autistic," meaning she was pointing at me,
Yeah.
and she said that when she looked at all the symptoms of autism, she saw it in herself. And then she started thinking about the rest of the family, and she thinks the entire family is autistic. And so she says that would have helped her a lot when she was a child
Yeah, we
to
all know
actually
that
know that.
now.
Well, I didn't think that, I just thought we were Asian anyway. So anyway, she gave me an Audible book that I'm actually reading or listening to right now about, how to live with autism and how to do well with autism. So I'm in that. And I read the first two chapters and I recognized myself point for point for point for point for point for point
What
with all of
points?
that. That I ask a lot of questions.
And
And sometimes that irritates people. So that came out loud and clear. Kayla, feel free to chime in anytime, especially on that point. Okay. And then there's other aspects of, common social norms. I don't do any of the extreme, social, at least in my opinion, I don't. Okay. Um, and she says, of course, points out, and you have as well, that there's a whole spectrum of behaviors, and the category of autism is much, 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 much more full of symptoms than the category of quote unquote normal people. Yeah, those symptoms.
yep,
So I guess that's what they mean by spectrum. So anyway, that was several days ago. I thought, wow, she may be onto something, so I'm gonna finish that book. But I hadn't previously ever thought of it until a couple of years ago, thinking, and I think I've mentioned it here in one of these sessions that I think I might be on the spectrum. And then that didn't really get followed up in conversation. But now my daughter looked at me point blank and said, "You're autistic." So now I have to find out what that means.
you're on the spectrum, and it actually goes with people with massive brain power.
So mm, actually, yeah, I would like to be like Greta Thunberg.
I don't know that you're particularly aspy, but you may have a little.
So what constitutes Aspie versus autistic?
Unable to make eye contact, tends to prefer smaller groups rather than large crowds. Too much
Yeah,
information flow.
okay. I'm comfortable in crowds. I'm comfortable in small groups. I do make eye contact. So, okay, so
Yeah, I
those,
make eye contact too, but I hate I when I if I can remember in college when I went to parties, I was the guy standing in the corner.
yeah. I was by the wall. Yes, I agree with it. When I was young,
Okay, so
that was like that.
that's a mild Aspie. But
Yeah,
I've
but that's
seen
also
Aspie
mild
kids.
Asian as well in an all white or all
Well,
Hispanic community.
it well, I have seen Aspie kids, real Aspie kids, who you don't want to get too close to them. You see them backing away.
Ah,
You see
okay,
them cringing. You don't want to pat them on the back. It's not going to work.
okay, okay. Well, I think there's someone here who works with a lot of people who, well, let me not put words in my mouth. I think Kayla has heard me say this about myself. Kayla, enough about me. You talk about me. All right. Kayla's
You
not
know,
willing
the
to. Okay, there you
the
are.
funny thing is, I don't find you to be the traditional autistic Asperger's type of person that I've dealt with, or even in my organization. And but then again, they have diagnosed severe cases
Yep.
within the families. So I do have a cousin who has not been diagnosed, but he is definitely on some type of spectrum. Unfortunately, my parents don't believe that, or his parents don't believe that. But you, Sam, I mean, I don't know. I personally wouldn't say that you're autistic, but then again, I'm not your daughter. So,
Okay, so let me give you some examples then. My daughter, when she was young, probably from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, probably 4 or 5 of those years, was on her computer a lot. I mean, by a lot, I mean several hours a day, playing this bubble game. Be very small game with sort of this mini bubble gun. It could point the bubble gun right and left. It would pop bubbles, and these bubbles would, start dropping down from the top. And you just had to shoot and just pop bubbles. And I didn't see the point. And I would see her doing this hours and hours a day. And I made the eternal patriarchal fatherly like, Amy, you're wasting your time. And that would piss her off. So was I exhibiting autistic behavior at that point, or was she exhibiting autistic behavior, or both of us? We've never really analyzed that.
I don't think that was necessarily you exhibiting autistic behavior. Any father is going to think that the kid would be better off outside skipping rope or doing something at that age that keeps them breathing. But we do know that Pong created a huge uh, cadre of kids who could shoot rifles when they went in the army. I mean, there was amazing things.
That actually increased their skill.
Yep. It has to do with a twitch rate and focus,
Probably climbing.
timing and focus and twitch rate are you know and then there's the AI that tried to learn Pong and it took it for a while and then pretty soon nobody could beat it.
Okay, so would it be strange to ask whether that was autistic on Amy's part?
Well, I tend to think that the autistic kids are sort of loners and they will stay to themselves. And while she didn't obviously play with dolls, she played with computers. And technically that's better than just sitting in a corner doing nothing.
But I don't think I'm exaggerating when I said she spent hours a day doing that.
No, I totally hear you. I mean, I when I used to go to my kids' high school and teach a class in Java, um, as soon as the class was over, they'd break out the games and start shooting each other. Um, and I knew that that was a part of the twitch rate and focus things that Pong did and so forth, but it kind of drove me nuts. They ought to be practicing their Java or reading their history books or, typical parental um, abuse of their children.
Okay, now I'll tell you another story. By the way, Heiner, okay, stop me if this is boring, you guys. We can go on to another topic, okay? Yeah, anytime. But anyway, let me tell you a second story about the game. On the other hand, there is this game, and I think I mentioned it to Kayla this past week. It's called the Set game. Jack, have you heard of it? Heiner, have you heard of it? Just SET, Set.
I'm not sure I've heard of it.
Okay, it's a card game, but it's unlike a regular card game. There are 81 cards, and some people may recognize that's 3 to the 4th. Okay, so each card has a shape, a color, a texture, and a number, or call it arity. So you could have like a red diamond solid green, for example, or you could have a blue striped oval um, triangle, and there's two of them. Okay. So yeah, so there's like 81. There's all these combinations 3 by 3 by 3 by 3. So the whole point of the game is find cards where 3 of those attributes are all the same, or 3 of those attributes
Ja,
are all
nächste Woche ist nur Sonne. Ja? Ja, alright. Aber du kannst ja auch alleine fahren.
Ich kann auch alleine fahren.
Heiner,
Ich habe sogar schon überlegt,
können
ob
hören
ich schon
Sie.
am Montag fahre. Weil am Dienstag so viel los ist.
Feuerfahrer Montag,
Heiner,
Nachmittag. Ja,
Heiner.
ich bin auch in der Sonne.
Du bleibst einfach hier.
Am Dienstag,
Sam, you can mute him.
Oh,
I know, but I'm not at my desk. I'm sitting right now. Sorry about
Dienstagmittag
that.
da sein. Also,
I'll have to there in
ja, Dienstag, Mittwoch ist strenger.
coffee. It's
Aber so ein
freshly
paar Dinge
brewed. I'm
sind
now
ziemlich
walking
knapp,
up
wenn ich
the
dann erst am
stairs.
Dienstagmittag ankomme.
Okay, here I come.
Aber ich kann relativ, nee, Mittwoch kommt Fahrer aus Duisburg. Das ist immer so
Okay.
viel los.
I'm almost there. You can probably see me emerge from the stairwell now. Here I am. Okay, Heiner, Heiner,
Mach ich
Heiner,
ja.
Heiner, 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 Heiner.
Ich
Here we
finde
go.
das da oben auch viel besser. Ja.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, I was saying that another story about Amy is that there's a set game, and I was describing this set of 81 cards. So you have to find each set, which is 3 cards, and they all have to have 3 of those parameters the same,
Right. I get it.
or okay, all right, or 3 all different. And it's a hard game for people to learn because you got to learn pattern matching, visual pattern
Yep,
matching,
yep, yep,
and
yep.
it takes like sometimes a minute or 2 to find the set, when you're beginning. I won't tell you exactly how fast, but 100.10% of the time, Amy would beat everybody she encounters in that game.
Well, there's your autism.
He has some fabulous
Really
visual
massive
pattern
brain.
matching capability.
I have to tell you, when I met her, when you brought her to one of those serious conversations meetings, I didn't see it. I mean, she had a boyfriend, and she seemed very sociable.
Let's see, what year would that have been? I don't think they would have been interested until they were at least 16 or 17. So what year would that have been? She was born in 94. That would have been 2010, 2011. That wouldn't have been the case because I didn't start going to serious conversations until 2011. So it might have been 2012, 13, 14, somewhere in that time
It
period.
was somewhere in, it was there. It was before 2013. Well, actually, July of 2013, because that's when I met Linda and stopped going to them.
Okay. So she would have been 13, 14 to 13 years old. Is that right?
All I remember is I think she had a squeeze with her at the meeting.
Yeah, that would have been Sean, one of her boyfriends at the time. That sounds too early to have met Sean. Anyway, that's not important. But anyway, she has this mind that works on visual pattern matching that I cannot cope with. It's like she has a GPU where I don't. Okay. And so where I take 10 minutes, she can do it in like 3 seconds or 2 seconds. Literally, that's how I feel. Okay. She's got a 3080 somewhere in there, okay, doing, thousands of matches, and
Yep.
I'm here doing
Here's
is
a
this
reminder from Sam.
Anyway, so that is something about Amy. And why was I saying something about that? Oh, because I don't have that, and I don't know what my extra memory capacity is doing. I can't figure out what I'm doing with any extra, if there is any extra memory or brain capacity. I don't know where I was going with that.
Well, it's your brain capacity at your age isn't what it was when you were at Stanford and so
What
on
did
and
you
so
say?
forth. It w- you, and
Ah,
I just learned that um, my last MRI of my brain showed that there's um, basically shrinking of the white matter that's a little more than you can account for age, and they credit it to kidney disease.
wait, what's the white matter?
The white matter, that's the shit in your brain that does all of the memory thinking.
Okay, all right.
It's the foldy, gooey shit that looks like whale blubber around your brain.
Anyway, I'm wandering into an area where I don't have any expertise, so I'm just exploring this area now. Wait, did Kayla depart?
She just left. I don't know if I
We're
pissed her
probably,
off or what.
or I. Okay, anyway, so I learned that about myself from Amy, and I'm trying to figure out what that means now.
Well, I learned it from my sister. And she's the one that we were sitting in McDonald's drinking coffee one morning, and she looked at me and she said, "Your head is wobbling." Now, I've seen these old ladies sitting in a chair and their head looks like it's doing the Chandler wobble. It's just wobbling around. And I called it the Chandler wobble. Uh, but it took me by surprise. But as a kid, I was actually spastic. I didn't want to admit it, but if I'd reach for something, I'd overreach, or I'd suddenly make a jerk and hit it and knock it over. I now know it's my essential tremor. I apparently had it since a kid.
Does it mean you have a problem with fine motor skills?
Um, Actually, it does. Now, I didn't have fine motor skill problems when I built my airplane and wire boarded computers and all, worked for IBM because I apparently went through a period where things settled. But now, today, oh yeah, fine motor skills are going away.
So no more brain surgery for you.
Uh, no, it's what I discovered when we adopted our first kid is that it's the reason for buying Cheerios. You don't put the Cheerios in a bowl with milk for the kids. You put them out on a tray and you let them pick them up and eat them. And my daughter had a hell of a time trying to hold them. And so she got a game of sliding her finger across the table until she got to the Cheerio, lifted her finger, pinched it, and now she grabbed it. Now, my son was completely different. He'd just smash them with his hand and lick them off his palm.
I think a good exercise would have been having them use chopsticks to pick them up.
Yeah, well, we weren't in the chopsticks mode. Um, I think we may have got some chopsticks when they were a little older and took them to restaurants and let them try to eat with those. But uh, especially we'd take them to Asian restaurants. But I'm not good with chopsticks. I just sling meat patties across the room. You know what I mean?
Ah, it's too bad. I didn't know that about you, Jack, because I claim I have a perfect lifetime record of teaching people to use chopsticks in 5 minutes or less.
Yeah, well, I understand all that, and I know the mechanics of it, but
Down to
um,
the mechanics.
the essential tremor causes me to lose control of them.
All right, yeah, that would have a problem slightly. Yeah, with small things like grains of rice and cereals.
Yeah, it's so when we go to the Asian restaurant, I always get a spoon or a fork or something. Heiner, I kind of wish you would turn off your video. It's very distracting having all the jerky
Wait,
stuff
wait, wait, wait,
going
wait, wait,
on.
wait. Heiner, before you do that, hang on 1 second. Let me try something here, okay? So let me do this. Let me just, how about that? That turns off Heiner's video for you, Jack.
No, it just made me bigger.
Right, but you don't see Heiner's video anymore, right?
Well, it's up in the corner, and foveation, curious eyes get dragged around, and that's the reason I don't like it.
Okay. I was wondering if there was just remove it altogether, because I think it's yeah, it's interesting. All right. Well, it's stable now. Is that better?
Well, it's one of the things that's driving me away from Zoom. I don't get a con I got a little box with three buttons
Right.
on everybody's box,
Right.
but the one that says mute them or turn off their video for me
Mhm.
doesn't exist, and so
Interesting.
there's always somebody like in Ward's meeting. There's one guy that just sits there and his head is just swinging and smiling and he's just always moving and it just drives me bug fuck.
Interesting. Because I did think that Zoom allowed you to turn off specific video streams.
So
Uh,
let me go into participants and I'm going to see if I can turn you off. Let me see. All I get is chat and pin. I can't touch. I cannot I cannot do anything because I'm not, I'm not a master of this session.
well, I am a host, and I'm looking through my settings, and it has nothing about turning off people's ability to control video streams, or I can't find it quickly. Wait, am I recording? Yeah, I am recording.
Huh?
I am recording, right? Yeah. Okay, enable meeting whenever hyper participants. Rename, unmute, start video, request to host, request record to computer, request to record, request to host. Yeah, I don't have any of the user
I
settings.
know. It's
None of them
it's it's missing.
control. Yeah. It's not like I turned it off. It's just not there for me to change. Rename, yeah, you can rename them themselves. Allow people to record. Uh, da, da, da. Yeah, I don't seem to have that ability to change people's menu items. Oh well. Anyway, so that was a little thing about autism and my new identity so that I could learn about myself. One other thing happened this past week. Maybe it was last week, but I don't think I've mentioned it here. Do you recall, some of you may, that we used to have Sam Chan here for about a year or maybe more? He used to come pretty regularly. Do you remember that name, Jack?
No.
Heiner, do you remember Sam Chan? Maybe not. Okay, I'll skip that item. I know Kayla knows him. Let's see. What else is on my list of things to bring up here? Uh, one of my rants here, and it's politically very incorrect, but one of my rants for years has been democracy is not the best system for society to adopt. And I'm seeing in my social media feeds more and more of that coming out. For example, Socrates is being featured more and more. And some of you know the story that, he was very, very, very much against democracy uh, for exactly the right reason, I think. That, a stupid person can have the same equal vote weight as someone who has actually studied an issue their entire life. And in this country, we value those the same in a vote, and we value those quote unquote the same in this thing called free speech. And so somebody can go onto YouTube and do a little search and find a little video about the fact that, aliens have taken over the earth and all of a sudden they're experts and they can now prove other people wrong because they saw it in a YouTube video. So I think there's more and more awareness that we have to level up beyond democracy. And so that was one thing that I know I brought up several times in the past. And I'm just noticing that this past couple of weeks, as Socrates is emerging in my multiple different social media feeds more and more prominently. And I think the only way to get around that is to base a new society on education. We claim we value education, but we don't. We don't pay teachers. We don't expect children to learn. We expect them to go through a factory model of, 50 minutes here, 90 minutes here, 50 minutes here, 90 minutes there. And if you're behind, put you on a different track. Whereas if we really wanted people to learn, we let people learn the way they learn. Some people might learn something in 30 minutes. Some people might learn something in 90 minutes. So what? They learn it if we really value education. We don't value education. Teachers get some of the lowest pay in society. They get very little respect. So all of that is getting much, much more prominence, and I think it's still politically incorrect, but I feel even more strongly now than I did a couple of years ago or many years ago. By the way, this all started way back when my dad started teaching in the United States. And when he got to a teaching position, his first one was Johns Hopkins University. He was a graduate, TA probably at Stanford. But when he got his first position, he was appalled that he had to teach basically, beginning algebra at the
Oh
college
yeah.
level. At the college level. Yeah, it's just unbelievable because in Taiwan, you don't get past, public schooling, middle schooling, high schooling, whatever they call it, without learning geometry, without learning algebra, without even learning trigonometry. So the standards for education in the US have intentionally been dumbed down in the sciences, in mathematics, just like they've been dumbed down in constitutional history, even basic history, and social science and civics. And it seems conspiratorial, but I do believe it's an intentional degradation of the educational curriculum for decades. And I'm finding out more and more about who owns those textbook publishing companies and who's on these, education boards. It's very suspect. So I think the US has been gutted pretty thoroughly in all its foundational infrastructure. Anyway, why do I always get onto this theme? Thoughts? I don't want to keep rambling.
Uh,
Disagreement?
no, when you say that everything you say about how education has been dumbed down, we're in violent agreement. And I've been there since I got my kids and saw for myself what had happened in the school system. The school system I grew up in was just incredible. Teachers that would stay after school hours and you know coach you on various things and get you a job teaching algebra to some seventh grader and blah blah blah. Um, it was insane. We had band, we had art classes, we had dance classes, we had gym classes, we had all of this kind of shit, and most of that's gone.
Yeah.
And if there's anything kids need, it's music. It's kinesthetic stuff. So we had a keyboard, we had flutes, we had everything in front of our kids. My daughter, at age 8, we used to go down to the junior college and listen to the choir practice. They had this girl named Holly Hunter, who had this insane voice. And the song she sung was just amazing. And so one day, the um, the uh, the leader, who had been a famous opera singer somewhere, came out in the audience and grabbed Nefer and said, "Come up on stage." Put Nefer on stage with college kids and stood behind her and listened and found out that Nefer had perfect pitch. So she invited her to be in the choir. Jesus Christ. And so we were at one auditorium once when they were performing, and I had my son there. And she came to us after the performance and said, "I want your son to come to the next practice." Now, he would have been 6, maybe, I don't know, 5, something like that. And so both of them had 2 units of college credit before they were in high school because they sang in these choirs in front of large audiences.
It gets other parts of your brain developed, other
Oh,
skill
Jesus, does
sets.
it ever?
Yes. Stuff that non-musicians don't understand.
Well, that's the point. And a lot of people did not know that when Einstein had a problem, he'd play his violin. Yes. And when my most creativity has been at a keyboard, just banging out a minimalist chordal progression, not even thinking about it. And bam, out comes the ideas.
Let me insert another small little story about Amy. She's on my mind a lot lately. When Nick was in first grade or second, I forget which. So every grade, of course, has an evening singing performance, with the music director. And so Amy was still only 4 years old. and well, not in school yet, not that particular school. And so Amy, my ex-wife, Dorothy, and I were in the audience. The chorus was up there, and Amy crawled up to where all the other kids in the school were sitting in the front. And she, kind of got on her belly, with her head in her hands like this, looking at the chorus and just intently watching and listening. And one of the teachers came by and started talking about Nick. And then I started mentioning that, yeah, Amy is Nick's sister. And we're not sure whether she's ready for school because she's only 4 years old. And the teacher looked at Amy and the way she could actually hold attention and said, she's ready.
Yep. Yep. That was my son. He was like that. I would put him on my lap and let him poke at my keyboard, which actually I did with my brother when he was 3 years old.
Hmm.
And my brother became a really fantastic pianist. Um, but my son, now my daughter didn't have any interest. She wouldn't come in when I was playing. She was in her room with her dolls and doing her thing. Um, but my son, he just stood there and watched. So I put him on my keyboard and put him on my lap. And eventually I just put him on the high chair and let him sit there himself. He'd sit there for 3 hours and
Blinking,
poke,
blinking. Yeah.
blinking, until he'd hit some chord. He'd try two and three fingers and hit something he loved. And of course, being a software guy, buddy of mine, we're in the living room. We'd say, "Oh, geez, that's good, John. Keep it up," and that reward system. But he's actually an artist. He's a 3D animator, and that was his big skill.
Heiner, how goes? You're back. Are you a musician, Heiner? I don't think I've ever asked you that. Sind Sie ein Musiker? Nein? Okay. Anyway, shall I ask more questions? Can I ask you a random question since we have three males here? Did your parents, either father or mother, teach you how to pee standing up?
I actually don't remember. I don't remember, but I do remember that's exactly what I did with my son. He got nervous walking around the house, and I said, "Come on out on the lawn." We were in the forest, and and I whipped it out and started peeing, and he whipped it out and started peeing. Man, it was magic.
You were bonding. Huh?
That's technically what it is, and in fact, my programmer buddy was there, and my wife said, "What are they doing?" And he said, "They're bonding."
Because I ask it because and you don't have to answer. Nobody needs to answer this if you don't want to, okay? Is well, I'm finding out very late in life that it's different for people who've been circumcised versus uncircumcised. And I was just curious, whether parents actually take the time to do simple things like this. Another example I use a lot is did either of your parents teach you how to wipe after you wet number two?
Yeah, I think my wife did that for the most part. Did your in our case with our kids, we used M&Ms.
Oh, so you smeared it onto something?
No, M&Ms are they had peanut M&Ms and And so they got when they would actually go in and use the potty
Oh, and did it
themselves,
well. They got M&Ms. So okay, I
they
get
got
what you're
M&Ms.
saying. I get what you're saying.
And we used M&Ms from then on for rewards. And
Yeah.
I remember one day my son came out of third grade crying his eyes out. And I said, "What's the matter?" And he said, "I missed one on the spelling." And he was just crying his eyes out. And partially the reason was is because his sister had become a spelling bee champ at the school. So he was following in her footsteps. So we got home and he's sitting on his mother's lap crying his eyes out. And I went and got the M&Ms.
Mhm.
And he said, "Dad, I made a mistake." And I said, "We don't reward that. We reward trying. That's what counts."
Heiner, are you trying to unmute or are you talking to somebody else? Are you talking to somebody else, Heiner? Or are you trying to unmute? Heiner's always multitasking. All right. Did you ever meet Doug Breitbart, by the way?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that was one thing that he was very, very, very focused on was whether people were here completely present or whether you were like distracted and, not paying attention.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I met him in an outdoor lunch
Wait,
table
what?
in
What?
in Palo Alto.
Doug Breitbart?
Yeah.
I met him in Florida one time. I didn't think he ever came out to California. He lives in
Well,
New
then
York.
I guess I never met him, but I'm pretty sure that's who was sitting next to at a
He's an
coffee
ex-attorney,
table.
lawyer. He used to be one of the GCC guys from way back.
Oh, maybe I've just met him in online.
Yeah, I think so. Very few people have actually met him personally. I met him one time when I was going to a conference in Orlando, and he happened to be there with his wife. Anyway, yeah, one of his things was always like leave everything at the door, come into the room, no expectations,
Yeah, well,
no
that's
baggage,
Bomian.
no
Yes.
agenda.
Yep.
We had many disagreements about what that meant, Bomian. Ah, Heiner, are you still trying to unmute? I see you poking at your phone, but I don't know. You cannot unmute. I see you wagging your finger, but I don't know what that means. And do I see anything in text? Do I see anything I don't see anything in text in chat.
Oh, he's got other people with him.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, there's
All
a
right.
whole bunch of them there.
All right. Yeah, Heiner's definitely multitasking. Oh, he's looking at the cameras. He's probably talking about what we're doing here.
Yep, that's what he's doing.
Okay. All right. Well, we shall continue. All right, Jack, I asked you weeks ago. This may be another unpleasant topic, but I just thought I'd follow up on it. I think I asked you weeks ago, did you know what adrenochrome was? Adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome?
Yeah.
I don't even remember you asking that.
Ooh, okay, sorry.
And no, I don't.
Did I mention beef jerky?
I do know what beef jerky is. We did have that conversation.
Yeah, it's related.
Oh, wait a minute. This had something to do with cat intestines or something or other.
I was just wondering whether that had finally impinged upon your consciousness, what's going on in what we're
Well, there
learning.
was some kind of not beef jerky. Oh, never mind. I'm crossing it with something that Linda got involved in. Um, so no, we you didn't ask me what adrenochrome is.
Okay.
I'm going to
But
look it up.
do you now recall what beef jerky is in the context where I was asking? Oh, wait,
Not
you're
even
almost at 1 hour, so you're about ready to leave, right?
I'm close, but ADRENAD.
Nochrome, adrenochrome, I think.
Chemical compound produced by the oxidation of adrenaline, historically researched in the 50s through 70s as a potential but unproven cause of schizophrenia. It is commercially available, mass produced, and has no proven medical use, although its derivative, carbazochrome, is a hemostatic medication. No
Okay,
shit.
so given that, it's uninteresting. But if you look at that in the context of what's happening currently, in recent revelations about certain criminals, you will be horrified. But let's just leave it at that because you have to go. And if you're curious, we can talk about it next time or figure out what it is. I will ask
Well, we
some
can
other time.
bring it up tomorrow as well, whatever.
Very good. I look forward to you returning tomorrow, and if you remember, you can bring that up. I'm not going to ask you directly. Okay.
Yeah, most likely I will miss um, Cunningham next Wednesday. So if you're there, you're going to miss me
I was at
again.
Cunningham this past Wednesday.
Yes, you told me,
Yeah,
and I insist that you get together with
Mark
Mark
Pearson.
Pearson. Yeah,
Yeah, he was there, and we didn't actually do a, mind meld, but yeah, I met him, and he said that yeah, he had been aware that somebody had told him that I would be joining, so he did mention that. So
yeah.
thank
Well,
you for that introduction.
he is. You need to know he's doing a branch of collaborology, and I think that that's an anchor for you to talk with him.
Very good. And you did say he was here in Bellingham, right?
He's in Bellingham,
Yeah, so
and
that
he
would be
knows
awesome.
he knows he calls your island Camino Island. I
It's
think a lot of
actually
people do.
the locals call it Camino with a long A. It's actually from the Spanish Camaño, but nobody here
Yeah,
says Camaño, you know?
I always called it Camano or
Yeah,
Camino, but
the
Camano.
Camano,
Yeah, I'm surprised if Spanish made it that far north.
they did. He was a captain in the Spanish Navy.
I did not know that. That is something. I
Yeah,
that's a bit of interesting history
it is. Because
because
we
I
all
figured that
know, yeah, go ahead.
I just figured the Spaniards went, into California, um, and that's about it.
Yeah. And as a last little meme before you go, I'll leave you with something from Margaret Atwood, which connects back to my previous theme. She is quoted as saying, "Stupidity is the same as evil if you judge by the results."
Interesting. And Mark Pearson will tell you that affluence is the downfall of civilization.
I will agree with you because I have
You're gonna
often
like
been saying,
you're gonna like what he does.
good, because I was saying, like leisure time as a concept is very new, and that's created people who don't value education because they value entertainment more, as a quick meme. And society's skills erode at that point. Now only got a small percentage of people, you know, progressing further in knowledge and the frontier, and all these people say, haha, look at those stupid people. We're here enjoying life. We're making $100 million as football players. We're making $100 million as soccer players. Those guys only make, $50,000. And that's the way society sees, quote unquote, leftists, liberals, intellectuals. It's a dirty word in too much of the population. But
Yep.
I'm beginning to rant. Sorry.
See
All right,
you.
Jack. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye for now. Okay, Heiner. This is the two of us and your friends. Would you like to introduce your friends? Are you at dinner? Looks like an outdoor dinner. You cannot unmute?
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Yes.
Perfect. No, I cannot speak. They're doing here some bookkeeping with the finance office, and I was just sitting at their table
Okay.
because I'm doing something for him, and
Look,
I'm
I don't want
working
to
on his
distract you, okay? I don't want to
computer
distract
and
you, Heiner.
my
If you need to go back,
computer. No, it just to tell you, I like listening to you both, but I have no time to talk.
okay, no problem. Okay, we'll connect hopefully tomorrow if you're able to join us tomorrow. Okay, then I'll
Maybe.
drop off.
Yes,
Okay,
maybe.
it's
Bye bye.
always a maybe. All right, vielleicht. All right, I will drop us off then.